Hi, this is just a small update I decided to do because I get a lot of people is asking me what's happening, what's happening, what's happening. But I can only go so fast as I receive all the material. I receive a monster UPS which is capable of putting out over 8 amp constantly. It's industrial. As you see, it's open. I didn't want the battery because it's too heavy for transport and it costs a fortune. So I got it without battery, so I just have to build a battery pack for it, and you need 96 volts on the batteries, and this thing is like a beast. I mean, it's huge. You probably won't need that for the purpose of a generator. I need that for the purpose of testing all kinds of different things and looping it up. So I can always use the beast to loop it up and find out exactly what's my maximum draws or whatever it is, and then purchase another UPS the right size, and so it's not so big and bulky. But and I also decide since this beast here, the 10 kV, is pretty heavy. I mean, it's 100. By the time I get the hyperdrive on it, it's 130, 140 pounds by itself, and then you need all the rest. So I decided to take a smaller generator with this. I'll give you a pan on it, which is this one here. Right, that's just the stator of it. All the rest is at the machine shop, getting all the part machined, so I can put myself something at a 4 kW, and it's not so heavy, so I can move around. I get the frame. I took a brand new generator from my cousin Richard. Thank you. Here's the part of your generator, a champion generator, and it was a nice little thing with wheels so we can move it around. So I took the gas engine off, and I'm putting a hyperdrive, an 8-inch hyperdrive on it, and hopefully the controller I got, will be able to turn that one over 4,000 RPM. But I have lots to tell you about, when I say I'm not using electricity and I'm using all those stuff, it's not running in electricity. And I can explain to you. I'm not still going to show you the controller because the controller, we're on the last stage of development with the two companies. We have an AC drive, you can put AC into it and it comes out as RF, and we have also a DC input. You can, as the one I'm using right now, and you will see the difference between when you're using, when the motor, when the hyperdrive, the winding is right, and it's not to consume amp, instead it's to create torque and RPM. It's totally different how it works, how it reacts, because you have to understand when you're using higher volt change everything into your currents, and a lot of people say like, well, it doesn't work that way. Well, it works for me. So I'm just going to stick with what has worked for me, and I'm going to forget about what people say if it doesn't work that way, because it's working very well for me. Matter of fact, we are very close to about maybe 2 weeks from now to be having a product who will literally move just about every single thing you want to move in this planet on a very small, we're talking about a fraction of the cost, to run the unit. And the so efficiency is so efficient, you can loop it up. So you can make it run by yourself, right? So I'm going to give you a little bit of, what I'm doing and what everything look here. So I'm just going to flip that around so I can give you a look what exactly underneath. See, that's the generator I'm going to be putting into, and here's the frame, right? That's the 10 kV. I was going to put the 10 kV in that frame, but it's too long. The frame is not long enough, so I'm just going to stick with the 4,000 and make a nice little portable generator. Runs on itself with one tiny little batteries, hopefully, and we'll have that put together. Now, what I want to show you here, and for all the no-sayer and Mr. Bob Bateman, he knows everything. I love this guy. He actually, make me look good compared to what the bullshit he's talking about. All right, now as you see here, I didn't believe the amp meter in this here. I'm sorry you can't read, it's Chinese, so I took a Chinese machine because I didn't want to waste the time, so they can't print me an English phrase for it. So that's the amp, that's the volt, right? Now, and that's, I didn't believe it, so I put another amp meter into the line who goes into my controller to make sure I'm reading the right thing here, right? So I hook it up to a small motor. You know, it's a probably, and let me see here so I can see what I'm doing. Yeah, so you can pretty much read there. That's for the prop, you know, it's a 13 to 15 inch prop, 18.5 volt to 29.5 volt, right? So now I'm going to, that's going to turn that down. Okay, we're going to put some volt into it. Okay, so that guy is 29 point some volt, so we'll put 29 volt. There we go. That's 29 volts, right? So now I'm going to turn this little motor here, which is not that small of a motor, and that thing can scream. Believe me, that thing I can reach probably 50,000 RPM in that thing. And look, it's turning idle on my hand, right? Look, 1.5 amp, right? And that's because this controller is very efficient. If I have a regular controller, for that motor to spin that fast, it would take at least 5 to 6 amp, maybe even more, just to spin. Alright? But this controller here is super efficient. So now I'm dropping down. But you're going to see, and that's a controller for Y. That's called the Y winding. The winding style is called Y, and or star if you want to call it like this. And you will run different type of winding this controller because it's a smart controller. Now we're going to turn that down because I mean I can make that thing scream. And as you and the amp keep climbing, right? Right now I'm probably turning roughly around about, I would say about 25 to 30,000. Really hard to hold right now. But they're very smooth, no jerking and nothing. You can tell when the frequency change, the sound of the motor change, because it's all about the speed of the frequency. Now we're going to disconnect that. Yeah, I'm going to disconnect from here. Alright, so we know those motors are made to draw amperage, and it's like very little amp we can put in here. You will see the difference between that motor and the other one, and this hyperdrive. Okay, so again, it's different. That is a different winding. That's for that. The winding is actually a generator winding. It's a three-phase generator winding. Okay, so let's see what happened. Oh, look at that! It's turning. Right. But those motors require, you know, those hyperdrive, they require a lot of volts instead of using a lot of amp. Now I'm going to crank the volt here. Now you kick in the second gear here. Now that's 100 volt put in, and that's what I'm drawing, right? And the RPM right now is, if you can see that, 2000 RPM. Okay, zero again. Well, let's see what this puppy can do. We'll bring it up to 200 volt. Volt output, right? Now we're spinning that baby at 4263. There you go. We'll zero that again. Let's see if we can go another harder. And look at the draw. To spin a 6 inches, I'm spinning a tiny little thing, and I'm using 2 amp, right? And that's good 2 amp with that controller. If I put that to a regular RC controller, the sucker will draw about 10 amps just to spin by itself. So let's see how fast can I make that thing at 300. Oh yeah, the thing is ready to take off. Okay, 303 volts. 6,200. Half an amp to spin a 6-inch drum. Okay. Let's try at 400. Whew, getting scary. I'm so scared. This is gonna blow. That's 800, 8,200. Now, I could push it, but this is a 400 volt controller, and I got an extra 100 volt in my box. That's a 500 volt power supply, right, at 4 amps output. But I don't want to grab that. That's 8,000 RPM. I mean, I'm not that stupid. This thing has got so much torque right now. This flywheel has so much torque on kinetic energy. You can literally remove a 15 to 20 horse outboard motor and use that little drive to replace that outboard motor and go full blast with your boat. I mean, we're talking a 6-inch drum by an inch thick. Now, if you people just kind of realize what I'm saying here and do the math, if it is capable of doing math, which is a problem with people today, they can't even count to 5 without taking their shoes off. But if anybody can count that, look, I thought I was wrong. I thought this thing was not reading right when I received it. And that's when I put another meter, an analog meter into the line, and he's telling me the same goddamn thing. It's just mind-blowing. You know, and the torque. The torque is just like, it's crazy. I mean, even in the small, I mean, right now, that's 3,100. There we go. Now, watch the amperage for what I'm going to do to it. I'm going to try to choke it as a brake. Look. The thing barely moved. And it's not stopping. Whew, getting hot. So I'm using the front of that thing. On a shaft, there's no way you can stop that. I mean, that thing has only got a 5/8 of an inch shaft, and I guarantee that would twist just like a toothpick. You know, it's just amazing the power we can develop with the right RF frequency into the system, because that's exactly what it is. Because look, ouch, ow, it bites me. But here, I'm holding. If you put your finger between two, you're going to get a little bite. But see, I'm holding the wire right now, the bare wire from the motor, and you don't get any shock. But if you put your finger between the two of it, you're going to feel it. There's no burning, no nothing. Look at my finger, right? But it does wake you up. I need to get energized anyway. I'm sorry, I'm sick as a dog right now, and I got this virus. I've been battling it since last Friday, and it's going to last me another week apparently in coughing. But this is why when you put something with the right sequence and the right frequency and the right volt is volume. Look, if your volt is not volume, look, for all the stupid out there, I'm not using my controller here, right? I'm not using my controller, I'm using the volt. Look, I'm using the volt, and the RPM goes up. Volt goes down, the RPM goes down. Right? So now what's happening is when I'm claiming the volt, the frequency also climb up. But that one is only putting me out about 25 kilohertz, which is way too low for what we need. We need, 35, 40, 50, 55 to probably 100 kilohertz for the big drive, because bigger the drive is, all the number have to go up, because we have a bigger volume to fill up, so we have to fill up that space with resonance, with frequency, and with volts. We have to fill all that valves there to get all the torque of those hard drives. But those motor here, I'm telling you, if I don't die first, they will take over this planet for moving everything we have. We've been moving with those stupid, non-efficient, garbage electric motor we call. Because that's all they are, garbage. We've been fed with garbage for a long time. So, I'm just gonna turn that off, and I'm gonna reset in my office, or so I want to chat a little bit more about what's going on and stuff like that. So we'll see you in a bit. Sorry again, I'm out of breath just moving my stuff around. But yeah, so that's how those things really work. I mean, they do not work like a normal electric motor. That's what I don't call them an electric motor. That's what I call hyperdrive, because they're really hyper. When you put the right frequency into it, and the frequency is changing, it's like night and day. The amp stay in the bottom, and the RPM and the torque goes up crazy. So I mean, people can argue me all they want and stuff like this, but I don't really care. That's the way it works. So I mean, this is what we're after. We're after the power and the torque and the RPM and low amperage. Now, a lot of people they ask me, when it's going to be ready. When it's going to be ready. It will be ready when it's ready. I mean, I'm not rushing. I'm not racing, to a finishing line, to a finish line here. I'm not a competition to nobody. People have stuff way better than I have. I'm not a competition to those guys. I mean, knock yourself up and use that. I have no problem with that. It's a free will apparently, right? So, I mean, I don't have to do like everybody else does. And I don't feel like doing like everybody else does, because it didn't work really well for the last 150 years. So why should I keep walking in the same trail? But a lot of people ask me if I can help them directly. I have no time to do that right now. When I have a lab, I will invite people to come and stay in the lab, at the lab, for a duration of probably a month, so they can learn, build, pack, and go back to the country, so they can teach the stuff out. That's how I'm going to do for teaching, because I don't have the time to really talk to 3,000-4,000 people on the internet and on a phone, to help them out, how to do that. I'm running out of time. I don't have the time. As simple as that. And when I'm on the phone, or I'm on the internet and talking to people for hours, those hours I don't have over there in the lab. So when I'm finished and everything is good, and yes, people, they're going to be more than welcome to come to the lab and learn properly in a place where all the equipment, they will be able to know what the equipment they need and stuff like this, and how to put those things together and work on that, and those type of project. It's going to be an ongoing discovery. It's not going to be, oh, I have a product and it's people can use that and that's the end of it. No, it's continuous discovery. It doesn't. The door I open with RF, I literally blow the door off. I don't want a door there. I want that opening to be people can actually see what RF can do. RF, and people don't understand, is it's a motion wave. It's a wave moving. I mean, you can use an RF literally for, you can bombard an object to RF to that actually lose its gravity. It became weightless. That's what RF does. RF controls this planet literally. It's a frequency which it can be manipulated, right? And we're making RF with equipment, and then we can concentrate the RF, and then instead of leaking all out, we concentrate the RF into a transmission which create motion. That's all those hyperdrives are. So, and a lot of people also ask about, where can they buy the parts? When I finish the test for 72 hours, 24/7 on the load, so I can calculate and I can test all the temperature of every item, what is going on, right? And when I see that's good enough for people to start doing, doing their things and doing research or powering their house or doing that or having a generator to take in the bush or whatever, that's when the website will go and it will have all the place where you can buy and purchase even the stuff. It's not mine. I put it there because you will have the place, you will have all the address to go on and so you can order that stuff. The generator and stuff like that, we're working on to have generator delivery in North America for very cheap, and a normal time 15 days at the most, by Seaway, and so we don't have to pay like $1,000 to $1,500 per unit to get this thing delivered here, because we're talking about lots of weight, right? So we're working on it very hard, and we're also working in different other technology we're playing with, and but so far now we have the company with the controller. We on the last stage of developing. Now they finally listening. I mean, you cannot argue with engineer, right? So you got them, let them trip over themselves, so they find out, yeah, he was telling me the truth. That's got to go up. Right now we have a bit of a problem with the height, the volume of frequency I'm getting. I need a higher volume of frequency. Now they accept that. Now they're building me something higher frequency, and soon we got that stabilized. We have something was working, and also the quality of the product is very important, especially in electronics. All my electronics is highest quality we're going to be able to find, for civilian and military to the same compartment. So we have very high quality. When we're going to put those controller out there, no electronic, the electronic is top of the line. Same thing with the power supply. I mean, that's I'm testing the power supply, 500 volt power supply. You ever heard of 500 volt DC power supply in North America? Hey, I'm talking to you guys. How come we can't build this shit here? I got a 60 volt, and I think the biggest one they made, it was 120 volt, and it weighed like 45 pounds. Why we can make this shit here? But and then people complain why I'm going to China, because I'm actually getting something done there. And they don't ask us, for $1 million every time we talk to them. So now we're gonna just do our last test, and then soon we do the last test. Me and my friend will be going directly into on flight to Hong Kong to go to China, and then we're gonna be staying with the company for probably, I would say, between all the company we have to see. We have 5 to 6 companies we have to see, so we're probably going to be visiting those companies at least a week each company. We're going to be giving time there, and they want us to go there so we can work with them and to explain a little bit more what we are doing, because they're still not knowing exactly what we're doing with that, but now they're getting to find out that, because they have those big drum motor over there. My friend sent them some over there, and now they have the toy in their hand. They start seeing the potential of what I'm talking about, right? The potential is very simple. I mean, if you have a car with the motor is not very good, you can replace that motor with with this power drive and run your car, and it will recharge his battery just like a normal thing, because it doesn't take a lot of amp to do the work like we have today. Everything is all about amp to do the work. If you don't have amp, it's no work done in the end. This thing is volt and frequency. Well, high volt, we all know, you can make high volt all day long. It's dirt cheap. It's like borscht, right? Frequency is equally cheap to make high volt. It doesn't cost barely nothing to make high frequency. So now we have high volt and high frequency. As long as we have a teeny weeny bit of resistance or current, if you want to call it, we're good with that. We don't need a whole bucket full of amp. We just need a couple, maybe 1.5, 2, 3, and now for the bigger stuff. That's all we need. We're converting the amp to very high voltage and high frequency. So and we don't need to carry the amp into it. We can leave the amp behind. If we look at the scale, when we put that on the instrument, when the volt and the frequency climbs together, this thing is unstoppable. Soon the volt start passing the frequency, and the frequency start peaking and down. Suddenly the amp start climbing up the chain. You bring the frequency back in, up, the amp drop down the bottom. So, I don't know, call me crazy if you want, but that's what's happening and that's what we're doing. So, you know, when we got everything put in the right place, you know, don't try to stop it, because it's not going to stop. I mean, look, Japan, you know, they tried, they start to teach, you know, how to work with those hyperdrive the way I do, and see what I see in Japan and all, and the college, you know. So I mean, like, you know, when you have country, we have India, we have Pakistan doing the same thing. Now the Europe, and a lot of Europe country, they decide, you know, they should be teaching that into the school. I mean, younger you teach the kids, better they will learn about it. You know, if they don't get lied to it, they might learn something. So I mean, we're going into, you know, it seems like we're not going anywhere, but that's the way. I think my battery is flashing me. Yep. So I'm just gonna let you say it. I will put that up, and to let you know, and I would say about another week and a half, 2 weeks, we should be able to put a looping system on the load in the video. So thumbs up for everybody up. You know, who try to help me, and I appreciate everybody who helping me in finance and all that stuff. A little bit, you know, really help. You know, it doesn't matter, because we have a lot of expense so far. I mean, coming in. So I appreciate all that. So, well, we'll be talking to you next time, and hopefully you'll be seeing a generator, the 10 kV turning by itself, or my 4 kV turning by itself, if I can do that quick enough for you guys. In the meantime, you guys have a good day, and enjoy life.